I've spent the last 8 weeks dedicated to getting my body fat to a single digit level, and to be completely honest with you, it hasn't been sunshine and rainbows, and that's exactly what I want to talk about today. Because on paper, the process is simple, right? Eat in a deficit for long enough and train hard. That's genuinely it. But what people don't fully appreciate before getting into this process, and what most people in the fitness space won't actually show you, is the dark side of getting that lean. And I think it's worth being transparent about, because the industry has done a really good job of selling you the idea that the leaner you are, the better. And I just don't think that's true for most people. And just for anyone that's new here, I'm not a full-time fitness coach. I'm a financial analyst based in London, and the whole reason I started this channel is because I genuinely couldn't find content that spoke to guys like me, people with demanding jobs, long hours, real lives, who still want to be in unbelievable shape. So everything I talk about on here comes from actually living that. And I'm not someone that has the luxury of just making fitness my entire personality. The last 8 weeks, I've eaten the same meals every single day. I've said no to almost all social events, and I've tracked everything. And yeah, the visual progress has been genuinely cool to see. But what starts to happen the longer you stay in such a big deficit is that small things that wouldn't normally bother you start to feel really frustrating. Your willingness to interact with people drops off, your hormones are affected, and your focus on anything outside of the gym basically disappears. Training performance suffers, you feel flat, you struggle to get a pump, and you become weirdly self-critical, to the point where any tiny deviation from the plan feels like it's going to unravel everything you've worked for. And look, that's not me being dramatic. That's just what happens when you're in a compromised state at that level of body fat for such an extended period of time. It's incredibly hard to manage if your income isn't derived from looking a certain way and you actually have real world responsibilities. So to be completely transparent, this isn't something I'd recommend people to maintain year round. And honestly, it isn't something I'd want to either. But here's what I will say. Getting very lean once in your life is something I think all men should do. It tests you in a way that not much else does. You learn a lot about yourself, your persistence, your adherence, and it sets you up with a really solid baseline to push into a gaining phase from. The issue is just when people treat it as a permanent target, because if you've got a busy job, a family, other commitments, the trade-off genuinely isn't worth it. And this is where I think most people get it wrong, because they massively underestimate what body fat percentages actually look like. The physiques people assume are sitting at 8%, 9%. Most of the time, they actually aren't. And that should honestly be really good news to you, because 12% looks fantastic. And the difference is, once you're there, it's not completely unrealistic to maintain it. You're not having to give up your entire life. You can still perform in the gym. You can still go out. And sure, there is some restriction there, but it isn't at a level that completely takes over everything else. So the approach I typically use with the guys I coach, we push towards that 10 to 12% body fat range. The last few weeks require a high level of determination, but once we're there, we solidify that condition for a few weeks, bring hunger hormones and health markers back to a good place, and then we move into a prolonged gaining phase. Accumulate as much muscle as possible, and once we hit that 15% body fat level, we simply repeat the process. And because we're not getting incredibly heavy, going from 15% back down to 10 to 12% is never a massive undertaking. You're always operating within a manageable window. For most people, if you can get to 12 to 15% and stay there, you're going to look great year round, and it won't completely derail the rest of your life in the process. If that's a goal for you, I've left my coaching application in the description below, and I'd love to help you get there. Hopefully there was some value in this. If there was, drop a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.